In my opinion, one of the most beautiful experiences I have from time to time is when I'm at an event, like a party or some kind of social event, and I just interact with everyone really naturally. I'm just in the zone, just no thoughts in my mind, just interacting with people, entering deep conversations, connecting with people super easily. Not a single insecure thought pops up. Not a single thought about the future or the past. I'm just present in the moment. Time flies by. It's a beautiful thing. I call this a social flow state, which is a term I've heard been used on the internet. Contrast that with other times when I'm at social events where I'm not in a social flow state, where I'm just in my head, I'm overthinking, and it just doesn't feel natural. What exactly is a flow state though? So a flow state was is a term that was created by the psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not super sure. And it's basically this state that you enter where it's just you, basically. It's just the boundary between yourself and the world disappears. There's no thoughts in your mind. You're not overthinking. You're not worrying about stuff that's going to happen in the future. You're not worrying about that assignment you have coming up next week. You're not thinking about the past. When you're just sitting there, right, your mind will just generate thoughts. And by the nature of the mind, a lot of those thoughts are going to be negative. And because of that, you're not going to be in the happiest possible state when you're in your mind thinking. Your mind is just going to generate negative thoughts. It's going to think, oh no, I have this task I have to do later. That kid in 5th grade, the injustice he did to me. Your mind just kind of thinks about these random negative topics. And that's just the nature of the mind. But a flow state is when there are no thoughts in your mind. You are just 100% in the present moment. Flow state is when the challenge of the task that you're doing is not too easy, because if the challenge is too easy, you'll get bored, and it's not too hard. If the challenge of the task that you're doing is too hard, then you're going to get anxiety, you're going to overthink. But if the challenge of the task you're doing is just right, and the reward is worth it, according to your own judgment, then you're likely to enter a flow state. You need an appropriate challenge, so your skill level has to be good enough for the social scenario. And 2, you have to deem the rewards of the social situation to be good. If the rewards of the social situation are good and your skill level is high enough for the social situation, you are much more likely to enter a social flow state. So I'm going to go through these steps and explain them in a bit more detail. Now, step 0 of entering a social flow state, a lot of you guys are going to click off this video as soon as I say this, because it's not sexy, it's not fun, it's not the fun answer, but I think it is the most important thing. If you had to do one thing, you have to do this step. Step 0, work on your mental health. Entering a flow state involves basically externalizing your awareness. So taking your awareness from inside your head to the outside world. If you've got a lot of negative thoughts about yourself and you're overthinking, you're not going to be able to externalize your awareness and focus on the outside world and be in a flow state. When you're not in a flow state, a social flow state, it's because you're thinking, oh, what does this guy think of me? Oh, is my hair ugly? Oh, do I have something on my face? Or you're thinking, oh, he thinks I'm boring. He probably thinks I'm lame. You're overthinking and you're in your mind trying to control their reactions. And so unless you work on your mental health and solve these issues, you're not going to be able to enter a social flow state. And the other aspect of your mental health is your ability to be above your thoughts and actually focus on the outside world. Because of modern technologies, all of our attention spans are messed up, right? So if you can't focus on the other person for long periods of time, you can't enter a flow state. So step 0, work on your mental health. So step 1 for entering a social flow state, the challenge must be appropriate. So with this comes learning social skills. Social skills is literally a skill. It is something you can work on and level up. Like you can practice tennis and get better at tennis. You can practice a video game and improve. You can get better at Minecraft and get better at building stuff and surviving. Same thing with social skills. You can literally get better at socializing. Now you do this through learning with books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, and practicing. You can only get better at something if you challenge yourself and go outside your comfort zone, right? Like if you want to improve in bench press, you need to go close to failure so that you're in a challenging situation so that your body will adapt. Same thing with social situations. Most of us spend most of our lives with the same group of friends, the same social life, and we don't challenge ourselves. So how do we expect to have high social skills? And pretty much none of us have ever spent time learning social skills, reading books on social skills, watching videos on social skills, and they don't teach it in school either. So you have to realize that most of us are really low level in social skills. But you might be thinking, damn, that's sad. Like, why would you work on your social skills? That's, only a loner would do that, right? No. Working on social skills is a beautiful thing, in my opinion. It helps you connect with people much more easily. It helps you develop deeper relationships. If you work on your social skills, I guarantee your relationships with your friends will be much deeper. You will actually be able to connect with people on a deeper level, and you will find it easier to interact and connect with people. And one more thing on social skills. Pretty much no one works on it. So with just a couple months of working on your social skills, you can be much better than most people. You can be a really, really social person with very little time working on it. The final step for entering a social flow state is you have to deem the reward of the social scenario to be appropriate. Now this is going to be up to the individual, but for example, if you're talking with your friends, the reward's probably not going to be that high, right? Because you've talked to them thousands of times. Probably not many new deep topics to talk about. So the reward's going to be kind of low. You're probably not going to enter a social flow state if you're talking to your friends. But if you're talking to, for example, a super attractive girl, you're much more likely to enter a social flow state because you're going to deem the reward as much greater. But now the problem with these scenarios where the reward could seem pretty high, the challenge is going to be much greater because you're going to be overthinking a lot more. You've got a lot more to lose. At least that's the mindset that you may have. So go back to step 1, go back to step 0. Make sure the challenge that you're dealing with is appropriate for your skill level. Now, one final thing on social flow state. Flow state is not a step function. It's not like, you're at no flow state, you enter the party, boom, you're in a flow state. No, it doesn't work like that. Basically, just like playing tennis, like getting in a flow state when you play tennis, you have to warm up first. A tennis player doesn't just jump into the game and they're playing at peak performance. A boxer doesn't just jump into the ring and he's in peak performance. No, you got to warm up, just like with any other flow state. So when it comes to socializing, you warm up by starting with really easy challenges. So just literally start by just trying to make eye contact with people. Try to hold eye contact with people that you walk by. And then you can improve that a bit. Make eye contact and then smile. Or make eye contact and say hi. And start having really small conversations with people. You can even do this before you get to an event. So for example, if you're buying some food before you go to the event, you can have a quick conversation with the cashier, like, hey, how's your day going? Oh, good, yeah, I'm about to go to a party. I'm looking forward to it. Yep, see ya, have a nice day. Something as simple as that can get you warmed up and get you into the zone. That'll bring your state up so that, it's much easier to enter a deep conversation with someone or naturally drop a compliment to someone if this is like the 30th guy you're talking to in the night compared to the first person. So that's it.